There's so much going on. Just take a step back and go back to the core fundamentals of the cryptocurrency space. Bitcoin was created in spite of the GFC to step away from centralized control and to have sovereignty on your own assets and your own value that you've bought into your own life.
Today's episode of the Clinton Donnelly Show, we're going to be talking with Sam Boyle from Caleb BrownBrokerage, which is an Australian-based brokerage with many U.S. clients. I think you'll find it interesting, especially in today's regulatory environment.
After the FTX situation, Celsius, Terra Luna, this Binance SEC lawsuit, you just got to take a step back and have a look. Okay, how do they hire that many employees? How do they have that many offices around the world? How are they operating at such a large capacity with such little fees? And you have to ask yourself, okay, where's the money coming from? And what are they doing with my assets?
Is Caleb Brown regulated? I know you're based in Australia. Tell me about what regulatory supervision you submit to. Today, I have with me Sam Boyle from Caleb Brown, which is an Australian crypto brokerage, which is very popular with some communities. Many of my clients have called up and said they work with Caleb Brown, and we're very happy. So I'm really excited to have Sam here to tell us a little about his position at Caleb Brown. We'll dig into what the exchange is like, and then also what makes it unique and attractive. And then we'll dig into some of the regulatory issues, their viewpoint, and how that's playing out. So tell us a little bit, Sam, about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me, Clinton. It's great to be here. I joined Caleb Brown just over 4 years ago now in 2019. And I didn't start as a broker. As one of the first employees, I was involved in all types of odd jobs to start with. And I joined Caleb Brown working alongside around 5,000 clients at the time. And from there, because it was the early days, we were working quite heavily from around 7:30 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week, getting things up and running and working with clients around the world. And just from there, wanted to get into client-facing work and joined the brokerage team. And now I'm a broker. As a broker, my fundamental role is ensuring clients all around the world have access to 24/7 premium solutions, which allows them to seamlessly and safely invest, trade cryptocurrencies without all the headaches and hurdles which the space can offer.
Well, thank you very much. Tell us a little bit about Caleb Brown as an organization.
Sure. So we are similar to exchanges as we can buy, sell, and swap coins. Our point of difference, however, is all in the service. So we want to deliver as much value as we can to clients, whether it's tailoring the security features of their accounts or allowing large sales without dumping the market and getting funds to the bank account without issue 24/7, trading on complex corporate accounts and helping structure all of that, structuring portfolios and tailoring research to specific clients. That's the kind of stuff we work on. It's very much personalized and it very much goes deep into providing as much support and guidance for each client. Now, we don't want clients to have their hard-earned funds locked on exchanges, depending on a support ticket bundled up with thousands of others. So we can contact you however you like, whenever you like. Last Christmas, I even swung by a client's house, and that's the type of personalized relationship we have.
You know, a lot of people say, don't keep your money on exchanges. You have to keep a private ledger. You know, they say, not your keys, not your coins. You guys have a different approach to that. Tell me a bit about that.
Yes. So when cryptocurrency is stored with us, and while you lose that private key, when it's stored with any exchange or platform, with us, it's still the same. You don't have the private key. And while that's the case, not one individual within Caleb Brown actually holds that private key either. With Fireblocks, we're able to have multi-party authentication, whereby if you're looking to withdraw, or we have to move anything around whatsoever, we have to send it to a wallet, or even trade the cryptocurrency, it actually requires multiple individuals within the team to sign off on that transaction. On top of that, if you are holding cryptocurrency with us, that crypto can be stored with us for as long as you need. I've got a lot of clients that have been holding crypto with Caleb Brown since 2016 without issue. It just sits in a dormant wallet for as long as you need. And we've stuck true to that throughout the years. We're not delving into staking. We're not delving into making money on client assets. All that we've seen over the last 6 months, we're not jumping into. So we stay true to holding things in secure vault storage. And then when you want to trade, we can trade it without issue.
I mean, you're basically real custodial services. You're not like a bank who's out there trying to make money because you're not as sophisticated with your assets as they could be.
Exactly. So a lot of exchanges, what they do, and I'm not pointing fingers at any exchanges here, but they would charge an extremely small fee at face value. And you just got to take a step back and have a look. Okay, how do they hire that many employees? How do they have that many offices around the world? How are they operating at such a large capacity with such little fees? And you have to ask yourself, okay, where's the money coming from? Is it through hidden spreads on every trade? Is it through foreign exchange spreads? Is it through the deposit and withdrawal costs? And what are they doing with my assets when I'm with the exchange? Those are the questions you have to ask. And on our end, we're just extremely transparent with where the money's made. We have one flat, small percentage fee on every transaction, and that's it.
What coins do you handle? What assets do you handle? Gold as well, fiat currency activity? Tell us a little bit about your diversity there. Which assets can people buy at Caleb Brown?
Good question. So we do trade just over 300 different cryptocurrencies, and that's buying, selling, and swapping. Anything we do trade, we can store as well. And no cryptocurrency is stored in a less secure way than any other cryptocurrency we work with, if that makes sense. So we can buy with US dollars, Canadian dollars, British pounds, euros, Australian dollars, and New Zealand dollars. And those 6 currencies we work with, we can also sell into, and then we can trade from crypto to crypto. The big differentiator with us and exchanges when it comes to trading is that we can actually trade from one cryptocurrency directly to another without having to weave in between stable coins or Ethereum or all these different cryptocurrencies to get to the desired outcome. And we will not add on additional spreads, fees, and all these hidden things within that trade. So it makes for a very smooth process. If you email me and I'm your broker, or you go through the portal and place this trade from ABC coin to XYZ coin, we can do that without issue. The traders do all the background work and we make it as seamless as possible.
Very good. Very good. Do you handle like gold or any metals?
So we just specialize in crypto. We don't trade any stocks, gold, metals, or anything like that.
Do you offer tax deferred plans like IRAs and 401ks and different sort of tax advantage vehicles?
Yes, we can onboard. So if you're wanting to trade as an individual, we can do that. As an IRA, under an LLC, a trust account, different entities around the world we can work with, and it just requires a few more documents. The team works with you in the background to get that done. You're not left alone to get anything onboarded.
Oh, very good. Very good. When your clients call you, what are the things they're most concerned about?
Good question. So this is also something that can change week on week. However, very consistent issue that we have seen clients come to us about generally surrounds security and transparency on their trading. So while every week there's new changes, like the news on Binance getting hit with a lawsuit from the SEC, And then over the last 6 months, we don't have enough fingers to count all the issues that could have come about where clients would be concerned. So the crypto space is ever evolving, and there's always different things we need to stay on top of. We need to help clients out. We need to educate our clients on. But in the background, one thing that is consistent is that a lot of our clients are used to using exchanges. A lot of our clients are used to using other platforms. And one thing that is consistent is the need for good security, transparency, and accountability on security of assets. It's very much a case of we are wanting to stay on top of everything that's coming about, while also just handling all the major concerns that we've dealt with as individuals since 2015 for me, trading cryptocurrency, and then for everyone else in the team, we're applying the personal issues that we've had and trying to solve them ourselves and solve them to our clients.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, people are very concerned about the health of the crypto trading platforms. We've had collapses last year in 22, a lot of collapses, FTX, BlockFi, Celsius, Voyager, they were all collapsing left and right. And at the time of this recording, the SEC charged Binance with issues. Now, Binance is widely considered as being the benchmark for a strong, reliable exchange. And now all of a sudden in the charges that SEC have leveled, as I read it this morning, there are a couple sets of charges. One is they weren't regulated and weren't participating in being regulated under the US rules. And it's true, Binance doesn't really want to be regulated, but they also accuse Binance of commingling funds and taking funds and using them for their own investment purposes. And that's just an indictment, doesn't mean it's true. But they said that while CZ and Binance were making representations that they were providing good surveillance and controls over trading, according to the SEC, these were non-existent and fraudulent claims, and that they weren't really providing any significant controls and surveillance over the treatment of people's coins, which is a real shock, I think. I mean, that's going to have to take some time for people to think through what that means and how legitimate the accusation is. But you're different at Caleb Brown. You're not an exchange like they are. You're a brokerage. We talked a little bit about wallets, and you're doing some different things there. Let's tease this out in the context of Binance. And what are your thoughts about what Binance has been accused of? Let me. I know that's a whole bunch of things. Let me break it down a little bit more. I want to go into all of that stuff. First of all, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Are you regulated? Is Caleb Brown regulated? I know you're based in Australia. Tell me about what regulatory supervision you submit to.
Yes. So we are an Australian-based entity. So we're regulated by ASIC and AUSTRAC and have a digital assets exchange license in Australia.
Now, what are those two acronyms? They're not familiar with Americans.
So we comply with two major regulatory bodies in Australia. So one of which is AUSTRAC, which is the Australian Transactional Reports and Analysis Centre. It's mainly centered around anti-money laundering and then looking after assets for clients and individuals in each state and country. Now, ASIC is the Australian Securities and Investment Commission. So that would be more akin to the SEC over in the States. And both of which are Australian bodies we work very, very, very close with. And they also work extremely close on our records, our books. And on top of that, we do work close with the regulators that are pushing a lot of cryptocurrency regulation. We're quite happy with Australia and what they're doing there. It's more like the UK as opposed to the US when it comes to the regulation they're pursuing, wanting to make things safe and secure for citizens of the country, as opposed to some other things that could be going on with some other countries and their regulators.
Well, that's good. AUSTRAC is a financial intelligence unit for Australia. That would be equivalent in the US to FinCEN, which is our financial crime enforcement network. These are the designated anti-money laundering bodies for the government. They are the gearbox for all anti-money laundering regulations. So what you're saying is you're complying with the anti-money laundering regulations. In the US, The FinCEN group monitors it's money transmitter services. So like Western Union and these sorts of things are money transmitter services. In most businesses operating in U.S. exchanges would have a FinCEN license as a money transmitter. Money not necessarily being cash, but it could be, crypto and moving assets between financial assets. That's a license, and you guys are compliant. And of course, the Australian SEC, different set of laws, but overall the same goals trying to be achieved of having integrity in the financial system and the
Exactly.
investment system.
And on top of that, so while those regulators they're constantly learning about cryptocurrency and they're constantly wanting to do more and enter that space a bit more to provide more protection. In the meantime, on our end, we see how all these exchanges and other platforms operate. And when we saw the Celsius, BlockFi, Nexo debacle, FTX, all these other exchanges and different platforms start to go bust because of the way in which they were operating, more akin to banks, it was horrific. But on top of that, we were quite proud with how we've just been operating over the last few years. So ever since 2016, having that simplified approach where clients sometimes said to us, hey, why don't you guys, stake assets or offer staking or offer this or lending? And it's very, very attractive, those features. It's if you're holding a lot of assets for clients in custody, there's a lot of money that can be made. However, look what would have happened if we went down that rabbit hole. And having a nice, simplified, it's boring, but very simple, secure, and easy to use platform like we have now, we've been so proud, and it's boded quite well over the last year where everything else has started to really crumble a little.
Well, I think that's a really excellent point, and I think it's because at Caleb and Brown, you're more of a brokerage than an exchange. Your people just don't randomly come in and swap coins. There's a little bit more centralized control. There's limitations as well, but those limitations make it more of a manageable environment for you. There's a couple exchanges that are doing that brokerage approach. I'm thinking Uphold does a little bit of that. Robinhood, these guys are trying to work within regulatory environments, but when you have a flat out wide open exchange like Binance and some other ones, and they're doing a lot of things more than just swapping, like you said, staking, DeFi, their own coins. It's a complex environment. They're trying to make money on a lot of different ways. But I think what's impressive to me is that you keep isolation of people's investments. I mean, it seems to me like if I trade on Kraken, my coins go into a Kraken pool. They're keeping track on my account how much Bitcoin I have, but it goes into their pool account and gets traded subsequently. So then when I take my coins out, they're coming out of the pool and not necessarily the same coins I put in. Whereas you're actually keeping isolation on the person's funds. They're not commingled because you have the offline cold storage and the Fireblocks multi-signature authorizations to keep the isolation of assets. These are all basic safeguards. I think the SEC was looking for Binance to have done, but they weren't. They were doing the very wrong things that get people into trouble. Commingling is what FTX was doing. And then they were borrowing those funds over to Alameda and using that for their own investment purposes, which turned out to be, well, they screwed up everything they touched, basically. So
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. And I think also with the wallet, I mean, that really speaks to, like you mentioned, the atomic wallet hack that happened this weekend. Just a higher level of keys that are being out there that nobody can just come in and no one person can get access to the coins. That's a massive safeguard. And I know a lot of people who are wealthy are concerned about the holding of their cryptos. If you have millions, you don't really want to keep that on a ledger in your top drawer. I mean, you could easily have it stolen. You're dependent, all your wealth, on the integrity of the ledger process, that you could still remember the 24 passwords. I knew one guy who somehow the firmware got messed up and he lost stuff off his ledger and it couldn't be recovered. I mean, there's a lot of single points of failure that occur. And when you get into a multi-sig environment that's a little bit more industrial and robust, like you're describing, I think that introduces elements of security that a larger investor might be attracted to.
Yes, yes. When it comes to the way in which you store your cryptocurrency, in the long term, let's say if you get the next 4 or 5 years in front of you, and you've got your general investment plan, holdings plan, what coins are going to be short term, mid-term, and long term. Long term is in, who knows, that could be the next 5, 10 years, or even your kids in the future. Having a mixture of your own cold storage, but also, so for me, for example, I would have my own offline cold storage that I have over in Australia in Vault Solutions, and then have assets with Caleb and Brown, whereby that can be traded in the next year, few years, and then having that mixture of a platform whereby you could be anywhere in the world, and then it's secure in offline cold storage, but you can also trade it whenever you need. You don't have to fly to another country, access a vault service, go in with your ID, get the device out, put it in your computer. That's just a big pain. So having a mixture is always recommended, and then having us help with getting that mixture and having that advice or support and guidance on storage specifically is very important.
Now, some people, American investors might be thinking, do I have to wire money to Australia to get invested in Caleb Brown, or do you offer U.S. bank accounts that people can do a simple ACH transfer to in the U.S.?
Good question. So we have Australian banking solutions for US dollars. If you're sending US dollars, it's just an international wire transfer. We cover the fee on our end. So any fee that comes through our bank charges, we cover that. And on top of that, the transfer itself might take 2 to 3 business days. However, we can actually trade on receipt. What I mean by that is that if you send funds because you're urgently needing to buy a cryptocurrency and you're waiting for those funds to arrive, you can actually provide me with a transfer receipt that details that the funds are being sent, details that the funds are on the way. And if it's coming from a bank we've used in the past, we trust that the funds are coming, and we can actually use our own capital to purchase crypto for you prior to those funds hitting our bank account. So we can lock in a price early, knowing that the funds are on the way. And that's just because having international transfers can be annoying. The banking system can be quite slow. So we just want to make it as efficient as possible there as well.
Oh yeah, international banking is a hassle. Banking in period is a hassle. But yeah, that works very well. Now, one concern I have a client who we had done his return for him, and he was quite wealthy. He had moved to Puerto Rico because he had a higher amount of wealth and want to take advantage of the tax benefits. And all of a sudden he died, and all his assets were held on his ledger. And his parents were contacting me and saying, "Hey, can you help us get into his ledger?" No, I mean, if you got the ledger, you got to get the 24 keywords. And if you can't get into that, there's no way to open it up. So they were looking for anyone who could help them analyze it, figure out what the assets were, what's there. And in a sense, the last I knew, it was basically his wealth is stranded, isolated on the ledger, and nobody seems to be able to get to it. Do you offer beneficiary programs with accounts that you set up, or ways to help people with some sort of inheritance transfers and beneficiary structures?
That's a very, very good question. And there are a few parts to that as well. First of all, I'd like to say that this is something that we're not unfamiliar with, which is unfortunate in the sense that we've dealt with these situations and we do build personal connections with clients, and it can be quite shocking when things happen and there's a lot to go through. However, these things do happen, and they happen unexpectedly. And even without having an agent authorization form set in place on your account with us, which we offer, or let's say you haven't really done like a beneficiary nomination on your end, we've never had a situation whereby a client has passed and we haven't been able to get those assets to the right person. And what I mean by that is that we can actually work with lawyers on the client's family end. We can take on board different documents like probates, wills, and legal documents that get set up to make sure things go into the right hands and to go through that process. It can take time, but we're there every step of the way. Another thing I'd mentioned there is that with that client you're referring to, that's when it can get really tricky, because let's say you're an individual, you've bought kilos and kilos of gold and silver, and you've got it on a treasure map, and then your treasure map's encrypted, and you pass away, and no one knows where that is. It's very hard to work in that sense. So let's say if you have offline cold storage, it's like a digital version of an encrypted treasure map. You have to, if you don't have the seed phrase, good luck finding that cryptocurrency. And once you get over that hurdle, that's when we can work together on things.
I mean, it's really novel that you offer solutions and support in that area, because you're not going to get that from your traditional main exchanges that are out there. They're just not offering beneficiary solutions. So it's very problematic. What trends do you see affecting your industry in the years to come?
As a whole, I do have a very positive outlook on the crypto space in the future. So while in the last 4 to 6 months, we have been hit with so much, and there's been so much we have to deal with, talk about, be scared about. At the end of the day, as one of my friends in the company says a lot, when in doubt, zoom out. So when there's so much going on, just take a step back and go back to the core fundamentals of the cryptocurrency space. Bitcoin was created in spite of the GFC to step away from centralized control and to have sovereignty on your own assets and your own value that you've bought into your own life. After the FTX situation, Celsius, Terra Luna, this Binance SEC lawsuit, this creates a lot of uncertainty in the air, and the ground starts to crumble a bit. But at the end of the day, the fundamentals haven't changed. It's just the platforms and providers of this asset class and this technology are operating in a way that could be seen operating poorly, and have been operating in a way that is unfavorable for the everyday person. But at the end of the day, nothing has changed. So I am quite positive on the crypto space in the future. For Caleb and Brown, ourselves, I'm very bullish on us as a company as well, just because we, throughout all of this, have just stayed solid, stayed true to looking after clients on a personal sense, on a financial sense, and a security sense. And that's just put us ahead of the curve, I believe.
Well, it is exciting that when you have an account at Caleb and Brown, you have a personal broker who, a human you can actually talk to, which most exchanges, there's no human. It's just somebody named, Tatiana at the other end of a chat line, so you don't know who you're talking to. I've had a number of clients, especially my XRP clients, have been very excited about Caleb and Brown, and they've all had very positive experiences, and they've had no problem getting their assets back out, putting it in, the level of support, the year-end reporting. They've all been very, very pleased in their comments.
That's amazing. And in my experience, on a personal level, I really think our service offering suits, one, people in the US and Americans in general, as they are very focused on having personal relationships and professionalism. And then the biggest thing, though, with the friendship and personalized service we offer, it creates more of a concierge type approach. So whatever you need, we're here for. Whatever assets you like, whatever process you like, whatever security features you need, I'm here for. And you can call me up, email me at any point of the day. If I'm sleeping, someone's there to handle my inbox 24/7. And if you have any questions, even outside of us as a company, because we develop these friendships and these relationships, it doesn't have to be just centered towards Caleb Brown's processes or what do I do here, what do I do there. We're a helping hand for the whole entire crypto space and a one-stop shop for everything. And that's what I really love about working here.
Well, I can tell you're very proud to be working there. Why don't you tell everyone, Sam, how they can contact you or contact Caleb Brown to start an account?
Yes, so my email as well, we could probably put it in a link there. It's sam@calebandbrown.com. However, what I'd say is that there'll be a link for our website, Caleb and Brown, and you sign up. Make sure to put in CryptoTaxAudit or podcast with Sam, as I know exactly where you've come from, and we can fast track your application because of this service and because of the relationship we have. So whether you email me directly, sam@calebandbrown.com, sign up on the website, just mention the podcast, mention Clinton Donnelly, mention CryptoTaxAudit, or go through the CryptoTaxAudit link. Either way, we'll be able to find you and work with you straight away.
All right. I'll just say this for people that aren't visually seeing us. We have it on the screen, but people are just listening. Caleb, CALEB, and then A-N-D,
Yes.
Brown.com. And Sam at calebandbrown.com. Be a great place to start that connection if you're interested in talking to them about their services. Go to their website. And thank you very much, Sam, for taking time to talk to us about the nature of your exchange and how it's different than others in the industry and how you make customers happy. I appreciate the time. And as I say, to all my clients, taxes are sexy.
Welcome to the Clinton Donnelly Show, where we explore how taxation and regulations of cryptocurrencies affect your daily life as an investor. Clinton has a law degree in international financial regulation. He is an enrolled agent and certified as a cryptocurrency anti-financial crime specialist. He has clients in 71 countries. He is one of the top experts in crypto taxation in the US. This show is sponsored by CryptoTaxAudit.com, the income tax experts for US crypto investors. Are you frustrated with using online crypto tax services to calculate capital gains? Are you a high-frequency trader, DeFi, NFT, play-to-earn, or whale investor? Nothing is too complicated for the experts at CryptoTaxAudit.com. Are you frustrated that your accountant doesn't understand crypto taxes? Crypto Tax Audit uses a proven, bulletproof crypto tax return methodology to prepare a tax return that doesn't attract the attention of the IRS. Crypto Tax Audit also offers an exclusive audit defense membership service. It's like car insurance for your tax return. If your return gets selected for an audit of crypto reporting, they will defend you at no additional charge for the entire life of the audit. No one offers anything like audit defense membership. Go to CryptoTaxAudit.com to learn more and schedule a private tax consultation now. The opinions expressed in this show are not legal advice. Tax and regulations are complicated. Your situation is unique, so you should always consult a tax professional.